Babylon Proof Your Kids, written and narrated by Sister Mandy Griffith. Attention all parents, grandparents, spiritual mothers, and faithful fathers of the church. There is an urgent need for your services. In 2026, our children's hearts, minds, and souls are up for grabs. What can you do today to stop the evil one from claiming our children? What is needful and necessary to ensure our gifts from God do not get tainted and trashed in the turmoil of today's sinful state? And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thine hand, and they shall be as frontlets between thine eyes. And thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and on the gates. Deuteronomy 6:5-9. So, when are we commanded to be diligently teaching our children to love the Lord with all the energy of our souls? On Sundays when we drop them off to Sunday school? On Wednesdays when we can make it to an MBA? At our annual GMBA camp when we soak in goodness for 1 week to hopefully sustain us all year? Not quite. When we rise, when we sleep, at the dinner table, in the car commute to school, on a random Saturday afternoon, and anytime our children seem irritated, agitated, defeated, or depleted by the world around them. Too dramatic? Actually, no, not nearly dramatic enough to wake us up from our sleeping state to realize that we have to actively and intentionally do more right now to save our youth from Satan's stronghold. Today's world is a digital world. Let's start simple. That phone in their hand? A ticket to temptation, a free ride on Satan's playground, a tainted teacher of today's worldview with out-of-this-world narratives that contradict Christ. Over the top? No, phones themselves are not evil. We do have to teach our children how to use screens responsibly and safely. Do we honestly know what kids are looking at daily? Hundreds and thousands of reels and videos, filling their minds with anything but the things of God. Let's not kid ourselves to think that doom scrolling is not a huge waste of time and brain cells on the lesser end of the spectrum to a constant, steady voice of worldly influence on the more serious end. What's up with Babylon? Exploring this reference, Babylon is representative of a worldly place of opposition to God. Let's recall a familiar story and give it closer examination. Babylon was home to self-centered King Nebuchadnezzar, who recruited a few Hebrew boys to work for him. Starting with name changes, he gave the boys Babylonian names so their original God-given names would be replaced with names that honored the Babylon gods. Steal their identity. Their name changes did not cause them to forget who they were and whose they were. He wanted to feed them rich foods and wine like the king ate to entice them into submission, steal their nourishment. The boys refused and said they would stick to their healthy vegetables. He then required that they bow down and worship his god of gold instead of the God of Israel, steal their faith. They again refused, saying they would worship the one true God and him alone. This disobedience earned them death, a one-way trip into a fiery furnace. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it so be, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up." Daniel 3:16-18. The best part of the story, of course, is that they were thrown into the furnace but didn't burn. In fact, Christ stood with them in the fire, protecting his own. Back it up. How in the world did these teenagers have the confidence to stand up to the king with such belief that God would deliver them from death? Could our children today pass the test in this modern-day Babylon and stand for Jesus Christ with the same confidence and conviction? How are they prepared to do it? Consistent teaching. When they rose, when they slept, at the dinner table, on the commute to town, on a random Saturday afternoon, their parents and grandparents taught them their identity in the Lord. Their spiritual mothers and faithful fathers gave them daily nourishment through the Holy Scriptures. The family of God reinforced their faith daily as believers and followers of God. This confidence doesn't grow by accident. This consistency doesn't happen twice a week. This conviction doesn't develop just once a year. It's daily. It's intentional. It's vital. Will you take up the charge in this digital day and age and help to Babylon-proof our kids? Our young people are precious. Don't let days, months, years slip away with the voice of the world speaking louder than the voice of truth. It's a subtle trap, and every day of indifference accumulates. Protect our youth with fierceness and purpose, and preserve this generation, teaching them godly ways and a life of holiness unto the Lord.